What just happened? I'm Dan. That's Julia. That's Bag Face over there. And today we're talking episode 7 of Sugar called The Friends You Keep. Wow, the show just keeps on delivering. I'm personally loving it. I see some people in the comments that weren't too happy with the reveal last week. And yes, he is an alien. They confirmed it this week. So sorry for the angel truthers out there. He is in fact an alien, but we're going to talk about all that and more. So we're going to do a giveaway. Stay tuned to the end to see how you can win that. But let's get into it. So this episode starts off with Ruby typing in her little briefcase slash typewriter. And I wrote down, what is this thing? But then it kind of hit me at the same time when that little orb was spinning. This is how they communicate with the homeland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that. And then she tells Miller not to hurt Sugar. He's like, what if he runs? Well,
try not to hurt him. Of course.
that's where Ruby's at. And then Melanie checks in on Sugar. He's sleeping on the floor. She said it sounded like he was speaking in another language in his sleep. And he's like,
I speak many other languages.
but I'm sure he was speaking like the alien language, like his native tongue. And that's what she heard. And I thought the part was funny when she was like, I saw you pass that on the floor. He's like, I wasn't passing on the floor.
I like sleeping on the floor.
Because I sometimes like to sleep on the floor. It helps my back. Sugar says he would like to tell her everything, but he just can't. Not ever. Then we see the funeral for Davy. That was pretty fast, don't you guys think? Quick turnaround for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to admit I'm a little sad that the comments aren't true about, him being brought back to life by Sugar.
By Sugar, yeah. They said that he was
I would have liked to see that. It would have been a nice little, him becoming an ally kind of deal, but it seems like his dad is kind of taking that route now.
Yeah. So Jonathan and Bernie talk, and we see Bernie for the first time really shows concern for Olivia.
However irresponsible she's been in the past, even in her darkest days, she would have been here.
So he's like, do you really think something happened to her, Jonathan? He's like, yeah, I do. So yeah, that was the first time that Bernie shows concern. So now I'm sure in the finale, going to be a part of that. And, we'll talk about what happens at the end. But yeah, then we see the first shot of her since she's been missing. We see her in this little, how do you call that? It's like a bunker under a set of stairs type thing. It's like a little
Harry Potter room.
Yeah, basically, Harry Potter room. And someone goes to let her out of the hole.
Motherfucker, don't you fucking touch me! Don't you fucking touch me!
To maybe torture her or whatever from what we see later on in the episode. But we'll get to that with all the talk about the ending of this episode. And then Melanie comes back with coffee and she asks about Jen because that's the only word she can make out that he was speaking in tongues, basically. But someone's at the door. It's Miller. He's like, that's my boss, but we got to go. We can't talk to him right now. So they acted like they jumped out the window, but really they were hiding in the room next door. And Miller figures this out. He breaks through the room and he picks Sugar up with one hand.
Yeah.
Choking him with one hand like the Undertaker.
Those poor people sitting on the bed.
Yeah, right.
What the hell is going on right now?
I can't even imagine seeing. Yeah, and he effortlessly just picks Sugar up with one hand. I'd be like, what? Yeah.
Do I have to pay extra for the show or?
Yeah. So Melanie knocks him out with something. They drive off to a little parking lot, and then she says the name of this show that you guys are watching.
What the fuck just happened?
So they talk. He says he's part of an organization that no one is allowed to know anything about because it's dangerous. And it's not just dangerous for me, but it'll be dangerous for you if I were to tell you. So I can't. I've never wanted to tell anyone as much as I want to tell you right now, but I still can't tell you. She guesses he's a spy, and he says we're just here to observe. That's our only mission. It kind of seemed like she thought she was right in guessing that he's a spy.
Yeah.
Her reaction.
Yeah.
So she kind of seemed like happy with that.
Do you think that he's going to tell her in the next episode because he knows other people know now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I kind of felt that.
Yeah, it kind of seems like that to me. But I feel like she was paying attention to his language and stuff. She should have. How did she not pick up that he said, we're just here to observe? That's such a strange way to word that.
Yeah, that's true. So he's like, all right, we got to get to Henry because he's in danger now. And he's been looking at Moss's phone, the guy who gave him the phone and he let live last week. And someone's been trying to contact him and get in touch with him. And he's wondering why they're rounding up Stallings' crew. So that comes into play later. So they go to Henry's school where he's a professor at. But someone got to him before them. It was Miller. We found that out later. So then he's like, all right.
I gotta get to Moss before they do. Henry will have to wait.
before they go to Moss's house, he tells Melanie that his own people have been trying to stop him from finding Olivia. And that really confuses her. She really wants to know more, but he won't tell her anything else in the situation. So they get to Moss's house, but someone already beat them there to it, and they killed Moss. Do you think that was Miller and them that killed Moss?
I don't know. It could have been like the senator and his crew, like the people with the Stallings. That's kind of the vibe
I'm kind of leaning toward, because like, what reason would Miller have to kill him?
Yeah, true. I think you're right with the senator guess there. I think that's probably right, because Sugar says a line of dialogue later on, like even though he's a lowlife, like we don't do that type of thing.
Yeah.
And he was so mad at himself last week for killing 3 people, and he has a conversation with Henry later on about that. So yeah, I think you're right. It was probably the senator's kid.
That kind of felt more like, I don't know, someone like tying up loose ends or something.
Yeah, it did. So he goes back to his place of living, whatever it is, a hotel apartment, and he grabs his gun. And he's leaving Melanie with Wiley, and he says he won't come back without Olivia. And she says, good.
I won't come back without her.
Good.
He says to himself, this is the night I'm going to get some answers, one way or another. And he follows Miller. And this is when he says what happens to Moss wasn't supposed to happen. They are truly not supposed to hurt people. And Miller goes to this house, and he follows Miller into the room. And it's Ruby, and it's everyone that works for the organization. So it's a room full of aliens. That's what you get. Yeah. And she says, mission's over. We're being called back home.
Mission's over. We're being called back.
They got word from home this morning, and he's like, no. I'm not going anywhere without Olivia.
I'm not going without her.
I need to know where she is. And he calls out the room. He's like, someone in this room knows where she is, and I'm not going home without her.
A woman who some people in this room mysteriously and unmistakably don't want me to find.
I'm finishing this job. And Henry's like, I'll tell him. And then he's like, what, you knew? And they go into another room to talk.
Can we just talk about how good Colin Farrell is?
I was just trying to find like a good spot to bring this up.
He's so
that's
good.
When I texted the group chat. He's so good in this show.
Yeah.
He is.
Oh, it was nice to see his character just lose it.
No, wait, no more evasions, no more lies. John. Wait, Henry, please.
Right?
Yeah.
He's so composed all the time.
Yeah. It was that was an amazing scene.
It was so good. I loved it.
I wonder if he'll win an Emmy for this show.
I hope so. He's executive producing on it too.
Deserved.
He is?
Deserved.
Yeah.
He is. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think he's got a solid chance to win an Emmy for this, or a Golden Globe, one or the other, or both. So they go into the other room, and Henry's like, yeah, I got an address. And he's like, after all this, it's just an address. That's all I have. And it turns out some humans found out about the aliens, and they were going to expose that there's aliens living amongst them. So it's the son of a politician who found out about them. And Henry says, try and fix it. If she's still alive, you're going to find her. I know that you're going to find her. But then he calls him out for killing 3 people.
They said that you killed 3 people. Is that true? I defended myself. So you had to.
He's like, it was in self-defense. Well, 2 of them were. One of them, Stallings. I really just wanted to kill him.
I killed him because I felt like it.
So that was...
I mean, can you blame him, though?
Yeah.
And it was interesting that Henry after is kind of like just talks about how they're slowly becoming more human the longer they stay there.
Yeah.
Shows why Miller's doing what he's doing to Sugar. Everyone's kind of slowly losing it.
I think that the longer we stay here, the more human we become.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all, this episode made a lot of things make sense. And, the episode before the finale, a good show tends to do that. So I'm happy that we got a lot of answers in this episode. So he's like, I hope you find Olivia, but without Jen, you're always going to be lost.
I hope you find her, but without your sister, I'm afraid you're always going to be lost.
And I'm still wondering, there's still people in the comments that believe that Jen is out there somewhere alive, and that's part of this conspiracy. And I wonder if we'll get that answer next week. You guys think so?
I think she is.
I was on that train, but now I'm not really on the train because it feels like we kind of know why there was a weird conspiracy against Sugar. We kind of find out in this episode why they were all conspiring against Sugar. So I feel like to also have the conspiracy of his sister being involved would just make it like too convoluted. So I feel like maybe she's just
that makes sense
dead.
Though. That's true.
I could see it going either way.
Yeah.
I really could.
Yeah. I kind of hope it goes the way of her still being alive, though.
Me too.
I still think that she's connected to this whole Olivia thing somehow.
Yeah.
Okay. I would be very happy with that reveal. I think that would be cool. So then he leaves. He's got this address, and he says humans with power and privilege are behind Olivia's disappearance. That's crazy to him. So They said, tell Sugar to back off or your secret is exposed to the world. And this is when he says,
Aliens walk amongst us. That would be the headline.
so sorry, angel truthers, they're aliens. He even said it with his own words out of his own mouth. They're aliens.
Question though, can't they just do some alien shit so that these people can't like expose them?
Yeah, and I wonder how they got exposed. That's like a string.
Right.
I'd
Like,
to
did
follow.
someone like get caught like just in their alien form or something?
I guess.
Or maybe one of them died and it was revealed then. But
Because
also,
they switched.
Sugar kind of talks about how they're like a peaceful race. So I'm assuming that's why, because they even say in that meeting when they're all together that like they could be slaughtered by these powerful people.
And we let this kind of thing happen to protect our own. They can exterminate us at any time if they want to.
Yeah, they did
Yeah.
say, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he gets to the house, he breaks in, and we see signs for Pavic for senator on the lawn and in the house. So that's what it is. It's the senator's son. So he goes to the basement, but a security guard shows up with a taser and tases him and puts him in his car. And Sugar convinces him to go back in. He's like, you don't want this moment to pass you by. There could be someone in this house and you'll be so upset you never checked it out.
You don't want that kind of regret, man. Trust me. Now's the time. You don't want to think if I could have the moments back, if I could turn back time.
So they go back in. And then he sees photos of this security guard. This is the senator's son. This is who this guy is.
The senator's son.
Do you think that he actually went, like the senator's son, do you think he went back inside like for the sole purpose of killing Sugar? Because he was like, this dude's asking too many questions?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
probably.
like I was trying to figure out like there's no way this dude would be convinced that easily.
Yeah, probably so. But especially because he goes downstairs just to get a hammer. That's essentially what he did.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know,
Which is weird. After going into the basement as a viewer, after Sugar goes in there, he could have grabbed a lot of funky things.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. But yeah, I got the feeling that he put Sugar in the car because he was like, I'm going to drive this dude somewhere because I just don't want him in my house. And then slowly figured out like he knows that there's someone down there and he's probably going to send the cops. And, you know, we find out that he was right to be a little on edge.
So, yeah, then this guy, we find out his name in a second. So he's like, who told you there was someone down there?
Who told you there was someone down there?
And now he's being threatening and he's kind of like showing the hammer off. And he's like, well, you know, I can't really say that's against our code.
Confidential sources, prerequisite in my business.
And then he breaks the act.
Who told you there was someone in my basement?
So we find out, you know, he drops the act that he's not a security guard. This is his house. He's the senator's son. And he said, and then Sugar pulls the stuff he's been pulling all season. Where he gets super confident.
Hey, it doesn't have to be like this. Really, no one else has to get hurt, including you.
While his hands are tied behind his back. Again, in another situation where you shouldn't be talking shit. And he does because he's very confident in his abilities. And sure enough, he bucks him up, asks his name.
What's your name? Right.
But Sugar's gun was pointed to his head and he manages to pull the trigger and end his own life because he'd rather do that than deal with the consequences of his own actions.
It's over. All right, why don't we just call it a day? Okay? Yeah. Don't!
Because we see when Sugar goes downstairs, he finds a torture chamber essentially.
Ah.
There's a wall of
DVDs.
stalls and it's just
Yeah, it was like Dexter on crack. Like
Yeah. Messed up that he had like the only one that was out was 44, but I feel like there was more than 44.
Yeah, there's all these
videos.
Here's my thing.
Yeah.
Do you think that because it said like didn't it say like murder number, 43, murder number 44? Do you think that he was a serial killer before the whole alien thing? Or do you think he just used that as an excuse to do some fucked up shit?
Probably before.
Yeah, I feel like that's a deep rooted thing. You don't just become a serial
like you would
killer.
have-
Yeah.
Well, I mean, doesn't mean he wasn't psychotic before and was just using the opportunity to his advantage, but
Yeah, and we saw the number 44, so that we're led to believe that was Olivia's tape, but he had all these other discs. So yeah, it looks like he's been doing this for quite some time, and he probably used the spot of him being someone of privilege, someone in where his father is a powerful person, so he
I also just find it convenient that on top of that, he happens to find out about some aliens.
Yeah, true.
You're
Yeah.
senator's son, and you're a serial killer, and you're blackmailing aliens. Come on.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I feel like
All right.
in the real world, though, that's probably the combination of things. You know, like if they're was someone who was a serial killer, that was the politician's son, they're probably the most likely to find out about aliens before normal people, I would assume.
Yeah, but like, it's just too many things. You don't get to do all those things at the same time.
Yeah, pick one. Pick one, guy. Come on.
You're being selfish.
Serial killer or aliens? Come on.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think, and let us know what you think about this, because this is where we're going to be divisive here. We don't all see this part the same. So he goes to Harry Potter's bedroom, he breaks it open, and he says, so did he find her, or is she dead in that room? I think he found her and she's alive. Jules, you think she's dead?
I don't know that I necessarily think she's dead, but I think maybe that he found like a sign of her and she's not there. Because remember when someone came and like took her out of that space?
Yeah, earlier. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they knew ahead of time somehow that he was going to be like snooping around.
I feel like it was Miller. Like, I feel like she's not there. It's probably a sign that she was there.
Yeah.
But Miller probably tipped them off that he was getting close.
Which makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys think that she's not there and he didn't find her, or she's dead? That's where you two are at?
I don't think dead. I feel like she's gone. I don't know why they'd put that clip of someone making her come out of that room in the beginning of the episode.
That's what I was thinking about. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't really fit otherwise.
Yeah.
All right, but let us know your thoughts. Where do you think Olivia is? Do you think he found her? I'm on that side of the train. I think that he found her in that moment and she's there. Maybe Miller got to her. Maybe she's somewhere else. Maybe she is dead. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. We are doing a giveaway once we hit 4,000 subscribers. We're pretty close now. We're going to give away $50 on Venmo, and you can have anything you want from our store. You can get one item from our merch store, whatever you want. Another great episode. Can't wait for the finale. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Later.
Bye, guys.
We're just here to observe.
What the fuck just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened? That just happened.